Bienvenidos, travel brats.
Welcome to
España.
We're
Hey
trying
guys.
something a little different today.
Welcome.
We had our guest start us off. We have with us Hannah Johnson, who is one of our besties. The three of us, I would just say we're like a little trifecta right here.
Chiquis en España.
Three musketeers.
The three musketeers. So Sophia and Hannah met many years ago, 2016, and I met these two lovely ladies in 2020. It was 2020. And now I am rooming with Hannah here in Fort Myers. We live together, and
I'm
we're
so
sad.
sorry.
Oh, shut up!
Goodness me.
You're the one who hits people with burritos.
I just have to
Excuse
work
me.
with her. I can't imagine. Just
Yeah.
kidding. I'm just kidding. Quite the opposite.
So actually, we're glad that you live in Dothan now.
I'm sorry. What? Cut. Just kidding. I'll get you. With
As
a
you can
burrito
tell,
later.
we all get along very well. But we want to hear from Hannah on a very special place, España, Spain. So,
España.
España.
Yes, yeah. In Barcelona,
Oh,
they,
yes,
they really
Barcelona.
do say
They really
do say it that way. I'm not going to say it that way, but yeah. So back in 2019, my friend Jamie and I had gotten into grad school at FGCU.
Rock
Go
on.
FGCU.
Go Eagles.
Yeah, seriously.
Woo!
Yeah, whatever. Okay. So, yeah, so we went in 2019 to celebrate getting into our master's program at FGCU, and we actually ended up using the Costco travel package. I don't know if you guys
Shout
have
out
used
to
that.
Costco
I know.
travel
Yes,
packages.
Costco
Yes.
all the way.
I'm such a Costco girl.
I didn't
and-
realize that you went through Costco
Yes.
for this trip.
Yes, and
Cool.
I think total for this entire trip, and you'll get to hear about like all of the different places we got to go. It was all included with the trip, and I'm pretty sure that my portion, I think I spent like $1,400 total,
kidding.
You're kidding.
including airfare.
Are you
Get out of here.
serious?
Yes, and I'll tell you how I did it.
Wow.
Yes, please, because I want to know, and our travel brats want to know.
You have to use your student ID
Oh,
What?
darn it.
wherever you
I'm
go.
not a student anymore.
But it doesn't matter. I wasn't a student anymore. I was in grad school.
You can still use
You can still use it.
I'm a student of the world.
If you have your student ID,
travel grad student.
if you have your student ID, you can get into a lot of different places. So,
Gosh, I don't know where my student ID is. Well, now I'm gonna go spend the rest of the
We gotta
evening
forge
looking
one.
for my student ID.
Wait, that's illegal.
That's amazing.
get a new student ID, and you could actually probably get one from your college or like find one. I
You
don't
can
know.
borrow mine. You look alike.
That's right.
Okay, yeah.
Sort
Just, cross out
Cross
the
out
name.
the
We're both wearing red.
Oh my gosh.
So we went to
That's awesome, though. That's
yeah,
really cool.
we went to Spain. We went to Barcelona and then Madrid. So we went for a whole 8 days, which
Oh, 8 days?
was the perfect amount of time
Yeah.
actually to explore around, because we didn't want to make it too long because we knew we were gonna have to start classes
Right.
soon. So we were like, we want to go on a short trip. We want to go to a place with a lot of history, because even though we were both English majors, history is super important to us. So we went in May, which was actually kind of their rainy season. So it was cool. It was kind of rainy, but it was pretty much beautiful the whole time.
Wow.
So you want me to start with Barcelona?
Yeah, wait, real
Go for
quick.
it.
Real quick question
Barcelona.
about Barcelona.
Yes.
Was the weather, you said the weather was good in May. What about like the people? Were there like a ton of tourists?
Not really. You know, the majority of the tourists that we did see were actually like other Europeans. So like
Oh,
a
nice.
lot of
Okay.
French families were there on like vacation. We met a really sweet German couple when we were there.
Cool.
Yeah, I guess May is not really a popular
Not
travel time for
US,
the
yeah.
US because
Yeah.
people are still in school.
Exactly.
And
So
not really
That's
in the
nice.
summer mode yet.
yeah, it was a good time, and none of the places where we went were like so crowded that we couldn't stand it.
Right.
I don't like crowds very much, and I was very comfortable at every place that we went to, surprisingly.
But
So,
you had a lot of fun at that rave we went to. last week. I'm just kidding. And I was like, what? I'm just kidding. Yes.
Like, I blacked out
because she's in Dothan.
We're joking. They
Yeah,
got
we went
far
to
away.
a Raven Dothan.
It's called the Peanut Festival.
Oh my gosh.
But yes, start us off with Barcelona.
Yes. Okay. So when we got to Barcelona, well, firstly, I'll tell you about the trip over there. We flew out of Tampa, which is where I'm from, and then connected in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie had actually fallen the week before at a slip at work because she used to work at Starbucks, and so she wasn't sure if she was really going to be able to have a good time because she was in a knee brace the whole time.
She was in a knee brace? Oh.
Yeah, knee brace the whole time. So I was carting her around on a.
Sounds like my trip to Italy.
Was carting her around on a wheelchair, and I had our two. I had our two carry-ons like hooked under
and
my
this is
arms
in the airport.
In the airport, and she had our two big.
That she was like holding on the sides of the.
And
She's
so
incredible.
and so you know how the train at Hartsfield Atlanta Airport, how it like takes off and then it breaks.
Oh yeah.
Well, she didn't have the lock on her wheelchair.
No.
So she goes careening down the train as I'm holding all of our luggage. And so by that point, we had given our big suitcases on baggage drop up.
Yeah.
And we'd already checked those bags. So we had our two other things in our backpacks. So I grabbed her by one hand, I had her bag by the other hand, and I had caught my bag from rolling with my foot. And so I'm like doing this acrobatic act in the middle of the tram.
Oh my goodness.
It was insane. So that was our first start. Safe to say we had lots of alcohol on the plane. And we showed up 8 a.m. Barcelona.
Nice.
And we were ready to go. We hit the ground. And so customs was really easy to get through in Barcelona.
Nice.
We made it there really quickly. One of the things that we did was we got one of those global entry cards.
Oh,
Nice.
Where it's actually a pretty extensive background check that you have to go through, but it's good, I think, for pretty much your whole life.
Wow.
Yeah, my parents had that, I think.
Yeah, and then you can take anything you want from places back into the U.S. So I bought a lot of wine, I brought some ham back.
That's so great.
And, food and drink are probably the hardest things to get back into the country.
Yeah.
So it was pretty beneficial to have that.
That's great.
But we put our luggage in the hotel room, and the first thing we did, because we decided that we would be kind of tired from the flight, and honestly we were probably still a little, from the mimosas, but we went on a double-decker bus tour just to kind of see the sights.
Yeah.
But the main reason why we did that is we went in with like plans of what we wanted to do, but we were also kind of there for the locals to be like, this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I know that the tour bus was like, a very touristy thing, but the people who were running it, it was said on the reviews that the people who are running it are locals, and they do it and they give like recommendations of like fun nightclubs to go to, restaurants, things like that. So we went there and we wanted them to tell us what to do. So we found that they said, such a really fun place is called the Fanta Magica de Montjuic, which, excuse my Spanish, I'm, raisins in your mac and cheese white. So, but that fountain has like a light show and just a water show. It's super, super fun. And they do it to all these, pretty popular songs. There was Queen, there was Aerosmith, it was very, very cool.
And this is all year round?
I believe they have it all year round, yeah.
That's fun.
They might close it like in the winter, but it was running, and if anything was crowded, it was that place, but it was still like, if you got there, like 30 minutes early, you could get a good spot to sit right in front of the fountain. We were right there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So it was great. And then right down the street from that is this cute little tapas bar called the 173? Yeah, 173 Rooftop Terrace. And it's like at the top of a hotel. And I had the most fun little daiquiris and just really cute drinks and a lot of tapas. And we just sat there and we watched, you know, kind of the nightlife and everything going down below. But it was a fun little place.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds nice.
It was
you had
really
like
nice.
a good view.
Yeah, it was a great view. And surprisingly, and I don't know why I was so surprised by this, but like Spain has so much like green space and like garden space everywhere. Because when we first got there, that was one thing that I had really noticed on the bus tour was like how many gardens, how many just like walkways with fountains and old construction and things like that. It was really beautiful.
And with the 173 roof terrace in Tapas, and throughout like your whole trip, did you find there was like a drink that you wanted to drink at every restaurant, or that became kind of your go-to Spanish drink for the trip, or did you try a bunch of different stuff? Or?
Yeah, I mean, Spain is known for their sangria, and so like I drink sangria pretty much everywhere. We drank sangria for breakfast. We drank sangria in the room.
Did extra servings of fruit in.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
right.
Our vitamin C. I wasn't gonna get scurvy on this trip,
No.
so you know.
Love
You
it.
know.
What did you do the next day?
Yeah, so the next day the hotel actually was really sweet, and they provided us with breakfast every single day.
Oh, nice.
And a traditional Spanish breakfast is kind of weird. You know, usually when you stay at a hotel, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna get my eggs, my bacon, my bagel, my schmear, and everything like that. But the Spanish breakfast was very much ham oriented, and like I like ham, but I don't love ham.
Yep.
And like Spanish people love ham.
Come on.
That's so
And
funny.
so ham for every meal, pretty much.
Wow.
And so I got a little hammed out by the end of the trip.
You went ham.
Oh no.
You went too ham. All right, I'm getting up. I'm getting out of
No,
here.
wait, really quickly though, where did you stay? What was the hotel?
We stayed at the NH Collection in Barcelona. It's like a podium hotel.
Okay.
It's actually in Madrid. We stayed at like a sister location. So like the NH Collection is one of the ones that Costco Travel has. So that was included with the package.
Amazing.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was great. We had our own bathroom. We had, you know, our own
So it wasn't like a hostel
beds.
situation.
No, yeah, it was a hotel situation.
Cool.
Room service, everything like that.
Costco doesn't do hostel.
Yeah, Costco's too.
I do love a good hostel though.
Costco's too bougie. So the next day we went to see the biggest known landmark in Barcelona, the Sagrada Familia Basilica. It is that huge church. And I have to give you like background on this thing because it's insane. This thing has been under construction since like the 70s or 80s, and it's still not done. And it was projected to be done in 2026, but they were like, you know, we're gonna be done with these turrets and these like facades because every side of the basilica, every single side of the basilica has a facade. So that's like the carvings that are in the marble or the granite.
Like,
oh, it's so detailed.
Oh man.
I've got to show you, right?
Those
Spaniards,
Spaniards, they're pretty
that's
slow.
literally 50 plus
Yeah,
years
yeah.
that it's taken them.
And it was
That's
projected to be done in
Spanish
2026.
time.
Yeah.
And yes,
Siesta.
Yeah.
Oh, it's siesta time. Bye.
but they're like rebuilding a bunch of stuff now.
Wow.
So who knows when it's gonna be done? And it's kind of funny because
They
it's
want to do
like
it right.
they do,
You know,
right? And the thing is this kind of building is gonna last for centuries.
Ever.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so, we went in, and when I tell you this thing is massive, like it is massive.
Wow.
The turrets alone, like, even though the thing is made of stone, like I could feel it kind of going like that because it is so high.
That's kind of scary.
It is totally scary. And so we went into the sanctuary area, and there's like several different sections. Stained glass in it is beautiful, and we even got to go on a tour up into one of the turrets. And so we went up this spiral staircase, and it took us forever to get up there. And it was just us two, so it wasn't super crowded.
Yeah.
But it was really beautiful.
What a
We
view
got to
of
hear
it.
the organ playing.
Ah.
There's like so many different statues of the saints and of Jesus and everything, and it was like, if you even care anything about religion at all, like it was.
And history.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
just gorgeous.
I mean, even if you're not religious, there's still,
yeah, there's
some
still that
interesting
twinge.
history piece.
So tell me, was there gold?
Was there
Was there
gold?
gold?
Was there gold inside?
Everything was made of
I
gold.
was gonna say
Everything
I
was
know,
gold.
I just wanted to say gold.
And the
love
other
gold
thing too is
in those old
every single basilica or cathedral in Spain has some random like dead person in it buried there.
Yeah.
Like all these
Ooh.
old churches have a crypt
Yeah.
underneath it. And like it's some super important person. And I don't even remember like who the important person
Would
was.
it be like a
The
like
night.
an important like religious
King
person,
or
like a
somebody
pope or,
from the Sagadra family.
Oh, okay.
So like, you know, it's one of those just historical things.
Dead
Yeah.
folks.
One of those dead folks.
One of
But
those significant dead folks.
yeah. So we had a really fun time there, and that took up the majority of the day, but we were like searching around for something to eat because like we're both starving.
Mm-hmm.
There's this really cute spot nearby called Casa Angela, and the lady Angela is there, and she makes all of the food like homemade every single day. And she has like maybe like 4 or 5 workers, but it's a family establishment, and you go in and there's like this little balcony area, and so you can sit and look at the basilica while you're eating. So
That's awesome.
we had our cappuccino and we had croquetas and patatas bravas, and it was just so good. Really
I
good
love
food.
tapas.
Me too. The tapas were great. After that, we went to Parque Güell, which is one of the most famous Spanish architects like park. It's like Botanical Gardens meets Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Wow.
Antoni Gaudi is the guy who did it. And basically, he took this beautiful garden that had already existed, and he just built weird things into the side of them. And so he has like, I mean, it's very, you know, impressionist. It's very surrealism. You know,
Funky.
the Spanish are very, very known for all of those like kind of weird artistic movements and things.
Yeah.
But it was super cool, and it was, you know, it's basically on the side of a mountain, so it was quite a hike up there. And you can get, we found this out later, you can get dropped off, but
He walked.
we walked.
You
We
had
walked
the
up the mountain.
experience.
Yes, with Jamie's bum knee. So
Oh yes.
Oh, that's
we did a lot of walking with
Ooh.
Jamie's bum
And
knee.
that's hard because that's Europe. I mean,
No
that's
pain,
just
no gain.
traveling in Europe. There's always going to be lots of walking.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Keep your tennis shoes on, guys.
Yeah.
Head over
seriously.
there.
And then we went to another old Gothic church, and like I said before, remember there's always some old dude buried there. So we got to see Antoni Gaudi in the crypt.
Oh, he was the one.
So he was the guy in the crypt. So we were like, oh, we know this guy. It's not, you know, some rando.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was good.
So was it like similar to maybe what was that? We went to a museum in St. Pete, Florida that had Dali,
Yes.
Salvador Dali. So it's probably
Oh,
like
wow.
that vibe because his
it is
statues are weird.
totally that vibe.
surrealism.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
that's pretty
surrealist
funky.
And
Wait,
the,
I'm sorry. Salvador Dali was buried there? Or
No.
it was his...
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, so
I was
this-
talking about crypts.
So the
you
okay.
heard it here, Travel Brats.
You heard it here, Travel Brats. Illuminati secrets. Okay, no.
Dali was buried in St. Petersburg, Florida.
No. So
The
there's a
rumors
Salvador
started.
Dali museum. In
I
St.
see.
Pete.
Okay, I'm clicking.
And it's got like a lot of his paintings, and he has some of his weird sculptures.
Yes. Oh yeah,
Yes.
he's very.
So I feel like that would have been the vibe of that
Yeah.
strange botanical garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much the same type of art
Okay,
and stuff like
cool.
that.
Yeah. Sweet.
So my favorite part of the trip was going on a day trip from Barcelona to a place called Montserrat, which
Ooh.
apparently they have Montserrat everywhere.
I was gonna say
There's one in France. Yeah, there's a bunch of Montserrats, but it's a monastery that is quite literally etched into the side of a mountain. It is absolutely breathtaking. So we went to this like sketchy little outpost train station. Every single trip that we took that was not provided for us by Costco Travel was super sketchy. And
That's good to know. The Costco
Yes.
Travel is safe.
Costco
Travel
is very
Yeah.
safe and reliable. And so once we took the sketchy train to the sketchy outpost, we took a sketchy rickety cable car up the mountain.
Up the sketchy
And-
mountain.
Yes, and when I tell you, like, I was white knuckling the entire
Oh,
time we were
dear.
going up there, it scared me so badly. And, you know, Jamie's just like looking out the window, like, Hannah, come over here, and I'm holding on to the edge of my seat.
Dear life.
But it opens up at the top, and you can see like the monastery built into the side. And when you finally get up there, it comes out on this platform, and there's so many different things to do up there. So I was like, oh, this is it. But there's a million things to do. Montserrat, the monastery, is actually known for having this famous black Madonna. It was carved in like the 12th century. So that's what they're like famous for and known for. And she's called like Our Lady of Montserrat. And so we were trying to find her the whole time. And finally we were like, oh, she's probably, you know, like in the church. So this whole place is like an actual like monastery.
It's
So
still
you have
used as
yeah.
a monastery now.
so you have the living quarters, right? Like the monks and the nuns are there walking around doing their thing,
Wow.
right? People are there visiting, and there's like a cafe and everything, but like some dude walked in and he's wearing like his full monk garb, and I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, look at that guy.
Yeah.
Is it real?
Yeah.
So there are monks and nuns there.
Yes. So the nuns have like a little school down in the country below, and they go like up and down every single day to teach at their school and whatever. So we finally found the Black Madonna. But the church itself is gorgeous. There are people there playing the organ. Everybody there was really friendly, and there was like places where you could hike up to the top of the mountain where a lot of the monks do like their prayers.
Oh, that's cool.
We got to see some of the living quarters. We got to walk around the gardens. There's like holy water fountains that you can like take back, and you know, people will take back the stuff to their villages because it's very rural out here. But that was one of the most like beautiful scenery, but also like really cool history and architecture that we got to see.
Wow.
The great thing about Barcelona in general is it's very tourism friendly. And so in fact a lot of people speak English there. And so the only downside that we had in Barcelona was we were going down into like the underground train system, which they call railroad trains, but they also call like the subway trains as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very European.
Very
I mean, that's
European.
also in New York. They do that too. Oh, you're on the train. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you're on the subway, but the
Exactly.
trains are also trains. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were going down into the underground train, and at that point Jamie was like limping, and I was walking kind of far ahead of her. And I consider myself to be pretty like observant and with it, but she had on her backpack and I had on like a crossbody bag. But I had noticed a girl come down the steps where we were, and then she passed me again going forward. And so I had seen her twice, and I'm like, what is going on? So I turned around to see if Jamie was like behind me, and she was coming, and I saw some guy going into her backpack. And I don't know why I didn't like react like, oh my gosh, but I just turned around and was like, Jamie, someone's trying to pickpocket you. And that gave her enough time to surprise him and react, and she like elbowed him in the back of the head
Are you serious?
and said, stay out of my purse.
Did he get anything?
No. And then he kind of walked away like this. The thing about like the pickpockets are like
Dang.
Spanish
Wow.
pickpockets, and I saw like 3 or 4 people get pickpocketed in Barcelona. So like that is a big problem in Barcelona. But like they're not aggressive. Like when you catch them, they're like sorry,
Like, oops, you're the
you
next
caught
person.
me.
Oh wow.
You know, like, it's not-
Okay.
It happens
It's
so
not-
much.
yeah. And so,
Yeah.
and Madrid has a lot of like law enforcement around, so there was less of that in Madrid.
Yeah.
Wow. So
So how many days though were you in Barcelona? Because it sounds like we're about to maybe go to
yes,
Madrid.
we were in Barcelona
was
for
the-
3 days.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you did 3 and 5, or did you have travel days?
3 and 5,
3,
yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you moseyed on over to Madrid.
Yes, then we moseyed on over to Madrid. We took a train from an actual like choo-choo train from Barcelona to Madrid, and we had lunch service on the train, which was so fun.
Oh, that's cool.
I spilled champagne all over myself,
That's also cool.
but you know, but it's kind of funny because Spain is kind of laid out where it's pockets of cities and then it's just field.
Wow.
And so Spain is known for its ham, so it was just
Lots of
hay
pigs.
field.
Oh my gosh.
And we would be like, look at that little baby. And then I'd be like, oh. I
It's just
know.
like white, like just like vineyards and
Yeah.
pig farms.
Vineyards and pig farms.
And Hannah's like-
seriously. And I'm like, you know.
That's what I'd be like.
Yeah. So there's not really a lot of houses or villages, but you know, we did see a lot of farms and things like that. So
That's cool.
on our first day in Madrid, we went to the Royal Palace, which was
Ooh.
absolutely gorgeous.
We're both like,
Ah.
jeez, I like Rupia.
Yeah. So this palace is just so extravagant,
I
and
bet.
it's kind of funny. The palace was fairly crowded, but it wasn't. You know, like I said before, it was not absolutely crazy.
That's great.
But this palace, we learned so much about it. We got to see, you know, like they have this beautiful grand staircase, all of this old beautiful art.
The history of Spanish royalty,
Oh,
I don't know very
it's
much
insane.
about it, but from the things I do know, it is so fascinating. And of course, so many of the famous Spanish royals were married to the famous English royals
Yes.
and the famous German.
Catherine
And like,
Aragon.
yeah, exactly. Like all how that, and how Catherine of Aragon, wasn't it her parents who commissioned Columbus?
Yes.
Or,
Yeah.
I think it was her parents.
Isabel.
Or her grandma. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's just like so crazy that like
They were super famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy, and like the history of Spain, but then also other culture history, like coming in, like do you know the painting where it's like Salome holding the head of John the Baptist?
Mhm.
Like very, very famous, well-known painting. It's in the palace.
Huh.
That's
It's
awesome.
in the palace, and I was like, this is
Wow.
insane. And we got to see, you know, the royal armory and the kitchen,
Wow.
and the extravagance of it all
Wow.
was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, they were supposed to have an incredibly gorgeous, like,
Yeah.
light and, like, with, like, the mosaics and,
Yeah.
just, like, the Spanish design. Because I've been watching these, like, period pieces, and I've been watching a lot of documentaries on, like, the Tudors, and, like, so that's where I was, like, I'm in the zone right now with, like, Catherine of Aragon, like,
Yeah.
Spain versus,
Oh,
like,
that's
the
awesome.
English style of
Yeah.
things.
Oh,
And, like,
so different.
the Spaniards and their style
yeah.
is, like, my bread
Yeah.
and butter.
It really is beautiful. One of the weird things that I had noticed right from the jump in the Barcelona airport, and then noticed again when we got to our hotel, was that they played like a lot of regular mainstream Spanish songs on the radio,
Oh, that's cool.
but then they also played a lot of Bryan Adams.
What?
Like, you know Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
Like,
That was good for you.
I know, I love Bryan Adams. I love Bryan Adams.
That's so
And so-
funny. Well, that's so random though. Like,
know.
or maybe it's not. I don't know. Like,
It was
what?
so random to me because like
Coincidence? I think not.
because it was one of those things, and I bring up this mainly because Jamie and I noticed it because we were talking about, you know, theory and everything in school,
Mhm.
and how it's like if something is, you know, out of your reality or is placed in a different kind of
Context.
like it's almost like a hyper reality.
Right.
And so we heard Bryan Adams at the airport, and I was like, oh, you know, whatever. But then when we heard it in the hotel, I was
Straight to
like,
it.
this is really weird.
Uh-huh.
But then we heard it again in a restaurant that we had gone to right after the Royal Palace. And I was like, what is going on?
Maybe
and the
like-
weird thing too is it wasn't the same Bryan Adams song. They were like different
They
songs.
actually,
Maybe
like,
Bryan
actually
Adams.
play
And
his
so
music.
I was like, what is going on?
Maybe he like just came to visit and they like,
And they were
freaked
like,
out because he was in
"Love
Spain,
Bryan
and then the radio station was like, play Bryan Adams all week long. Yes sir, si senor.
So that was one thing that I noticed, and I didn't really think much of it after. But then after that we went to the Del Prado Museum. So like you have your museums in New York, you have your museums in France. Spain is like one of the big three, right? You have what is the one in New York? The like beautiful classical museum that I cannot think of.
Well, there's the natural history. There's MoMA. There's
the art one.
I mean, MoMA's pretty cool, but you're not talking about MoMA.
I'm not talking about the modern art.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The Met.
The Met. Wow. I
Duh.
literally was like,
The
opera,
Met Gala?
opera.
I
The
should have
Gala.
known.
Met Gala.
Duh.
Opera.
It's one of those brain farts. It's a brain fart.
Blair
Yes,
and
all of
Serena.
us.
I lived there.
Blair and
I
Serena
should
had
have.
I lived there moment. I should remember that.
We all should have remembered.
Yeah.
You should have known that they eat lunch on the
The Met.
steps
Starts
of the
with
Met.
an M.
Yeah, the Met. So you have
MoMA?
you have the Met, you have the Louvre,
Yeah.
and then you have the Del Prado. Like it's like
Okay,
the
I
holy
see.
trinity of classic art museums.
Wow.
Okay.
So we got to see so many beautiful Baroque paintings, sculptures, art.
Well, it's Spanish art. I
Oh,
mean,
it's
just
gorgeous.
Yeah.
like you think
It's
of
so
like
pretty.
the Dutch artists, the Spanish artists, like
Yeah.
those guys, and the Italian artists. You know what I mean? Like those
Yeah.
are like, and of course the French artists. We'll give
Yeah.
them some credit too.
I love it when they use gold.
Yes, and that's the thing, that the
much gold.
Baroque period
So
is
much gold.
so much gold. And so I got to see, like going back to my theory class, we had learned about this painting called Las Meninas by Diego Velázquez. And it's one of the most analyzed paintings ever. And like this is where my nerdy side comes out. But the most analyzed paintings ever because Velázquez actually paints himself into the painting.
That's cool.
And I got to see it as like a 15 by 30 foot,
Wow.
painting. Just breathtaking.
That's awesome.
But we got to see it. The next day, we went to the Modern Art Museum. So that's the MoMA
That's the
equivalent.
MoMA.
That's
MoMA
it.
equivalent.
Madrid.
And it's called the Reina Sofia.
Ooh,
Queen
Yes,
Sofia.
Queen Sofia. And we got to see the Picasso and Dali exhibits.
Awesome.
And we ended up spending pretty much the entire day at that museum
Wow.
because it was raining the whole day and we knew it was going to rain the whole day. And so we just
Made
took
it
everything
museum
in.
day.
It was
That's cool.
gorgeous.
Dang.
And museums are tough like that
Yeah.
because you really can spend a whole day there, but sometimes you don't have the whole day, and so you just
Right.
kind of have to pick your top spots that you're gonna check out.
That's
but
so
to be able
hard.
to just walk around a museum for a whole day,
Yeah,
pretty
that's what I
exquisite.
love.
And I'm more of a classical art person anyway.
Okay.
And so if I had my druthers, I would
you would have done it the
done
opposite way.
the opposite way. But like the amount of stuff that we did after Del Prado was like exploring the city and everything, and that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Just walking around, getting to see people, and yeah, it was really cool.
Now, I know you're not too much of a Dali or Picasso, but who did you like more? Probably Picasso, yeah?
Honestly, I like Dali more.
Did you?
Yes.
Well, the thing is it's very surrealism, but it's like also like his talent is
Yes.
incredible.
Yeah.
Like his just skill for
genius, yeah.
painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like I'm not sure how I feel about a lot of his like dream scenarios and
Yeah.
things like that. But like the fact that like the way the paintings are painted, I'm like, this guy's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
It's like
precision.
anything.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
precision. Yeah, in and of itself
Yeah.
is beautiful. So in Madrid, it's kind of funny. We did not really do a lot of exploration in Madrid when it came to like the food, because the first night we were there, we went to this place, and it honestly took me. I mean, I played straight up Nancy Drew detective to find the name of this restaurant because I don't think it's open anymore.
Really?
So I had to look at like a Google Maps Street View.
Oh,
I had
wow.
to like do our route of like walking from our hotel and then Yelp reviews and everything like that. But we went there almost every single night for dinner
That
because
must have been really good.
oh, it was so good. The best sangria I've ever
Really?
had.
Oh.
Best sangria I've ever had. It was honestly right down the street from our hotel, so it was a quick,
so nice.
easy walk
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And they had these ropa vieja empanadas that were to die for. And it took me forever to figure out where this place was, but it is called La Gabinoteca. And it is so good.
Yum.
But
And
you think it doesn't exist anymore?
I don't know if it does or not, but
You must find it.
I know, seriously, I am almost tempted to go back just to find it because
Is it here?
it was so good. And like such cute little portions and plates, such a fun place. And I kid you not, I heard Bryan Adams 3
Again.
more times in that restaurant.
I can't.
So finally, I asked the waiter,
Yeah, like what's
and
the
I
deal?
said, I keep hearing an American artist named Bryan Adams on your radio, and he was like, who?
That's so funny.
And I'm like, what in the world? So either somebody on the Spanish radio is having a practical
Just
joke, or is like
yeah.
That's
obsessed
so
with Bryan
funny.
Adams.
But it was the only like American music.
well, I mean,
like, were they
there
playing
was
another-
like, you know, there was like,
Katy Perry.
Katy Perry and like Taylor Swift and Dua Lipa, and you know, like,
okay, but
like-
for the most part it was Spanish.
but it was
music.
for the most part Spanish and like very, very mainstream hip hop
Right.
stuff or like
Right.
pop, and then Bryan Adams.
That's funny.
Very weird.
Someone, just really likes
Likes
that
Bryan
music, I
Adams.
guess.
Yeah.
But it's funny that you heard it at so many different places.
Yes.
That it wouldn't have just been one
Yeah.
radio DJ
Yes.
or one restaurant
it
owner.
wasn't-
that it like
So
was
funny.
consistently
Right.
everywhere.
And it wasn't just in Madrid; it was in Barcelona too.
Well, sometimes, I mean, truly, like artists will have like a niche
Mhm.
popularity in a certain place.
Uh-huh.
Or they will like somehow get a lot of good promotion in a specific spot, or they
Yeah.
just like, so it might have just been one of those niche
Yeah.
places where he just had a really great
Yeah.
following in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who
Random.
knows?
That's so
knows?
funny.
All right, Bryan Adams.
I know, right?
Good on you.
But I listened to Bryan Adams pretty much the whole way home too. But you know,
Because she was so pumped.
because I was pumped, yeah. And then I watched Spirit when I got back too.
I love it. I love it.
So
Oh,
um,
man.
the last place that we went was actually called Toledo, and Jamie and I were like, had to make sure that we were not pronouncing it Toledo because
Because it looks like Toledo.
they were
Yeah.
gonna know. They were
Toledo.
like, oh, tourists. So it's also called Castilla-La Mancha, which Man of La
I was
Mancha.
gonna say, Man of La
yes, Man of La Mancha. So this is basically the city that Miguel Cervantes was writing about when he wrote Don Quixote.
No way.
Yes.
That's cool. I did not know that.
So yeah, very, very cool place. It is, once again, we took a train, a choo-choo train.